occupant and humans. This complete module 4 is about engine emission and control. Okay. So coming to the various emissions from the engine. Basically, we have two different types of emission. One we call it as major emission, and the other one is minor emission. And coming to the major emission from both gasoline engine as well as from diesel engine, we will be having unburned hydrocarbon and oxides of carbon like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, and we will be having NOx. Right. So these are all common for gasoline engine as well as for diesel engine. And apart from this, in the case of CA engine, we will be having additionally SOx emission and more amount of particulate matter will be there. Right? Compared to SA engine, in CA engine we will be having more amount of particulate matter. So all these emissions we call it as major emissions. So this unburned hydrocarbon, then carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, and NOx, SOx, particulate matter. So all these 5 we call as major emissions. Okay. Apart from this, we have minor emissions also. Some of the minor emissions are like the aldehydes and aromatic compounds and ethers that are coming out through the exhaust gas. So these we call it as minor emissions. And the sources for this emissions, if you don't have proper combustion, right, the source is mainly because of the improper combustion. If you are going to have stoichiometric combustion, then combustion is going to be proper, then the emissions are going to be minimum. Okay. So if the combustion is not complete, then we will have the emissions, right? And the reason for the NOx emission is oxidation of nitrogen, because for combustion we will be supplying air. This air contains nitrogen. At high temperature, nitrogen reacts with the oxygen and it forms NOx. Okay. And it pollutants, some of the harmful pollutants like SOx, this depends upon the impurities that are present in the fuel. If the fuel contains sulfur, then SOx is going to be formed, right? And in the case of, like, let us say if the engine is going to have a blow by problem, right, then the hydrocarbons will enter into the crankcase. Okay. So the crankcase will have these hydrocarbon vapors, and there is a chance for the crankcase to explode, right? So to avoid that, what we used to do is that we used to have a separate line. We will be having a crankcase ventilation, which will bring the hydrocarbon vapors from the crankcase back to the engine cylinder for combustion. Okay. So these are the sources because of which we are going to have major emissions from the engine, right? So the primary reason is incomplete combustion, and at high temperature we are going to have oxidation of nitrogen and the presence of impurities in the fuel. So these are some of the reasons for the major emissions, and these emissions are harmful both to the environment as well as for the human life. So coming to the effects on the environment and human because of the emissions, right? So the various effects we are going to discuss in this session. And let us start with the carbon cycle. Then we will be discussing about the harmful effects because of the pollution on the marine life. Then we will discuss about global warming, then about acid rain, then smoke, and what are the effects on the agriculture, right? The vegetation also going to be affected because of the harmful pollutants from the engine exhaust. And coming to the effects on the human being, these pollutants are going to affect the respiratory system, it affects the skin, it affects the eye, causes cancer, and the battery which we are going to use, the battery of the automobile has predominantly we have this lead acid battery. So lead is considered as poisonous. It is toxic. Okay, because of that, exposure to lead will also affect the health of the human being. And the exhaust gases that is coming out from the engine, when it is inhaled, then the olfactory nerves are going to get affected. Then our capability to smell is going to come down. Okay, so these are some of the effects on the human being. So we'll start with the environmental impact, then we'll move to the effects of emission from the engine on the human health. So these two we are going to discuss. Okay, and coming to the carbon cycle, right? The carbon cycle is like the carbon that is present in the land, right? And it is going to enter into the atmosphere, and then it is going back to the land. So this forms a cycle. Okay, so the major contribution for the emission of CO2 is power plant. Number one contributor for the emission of CO2 into the atmosphere is by power plant, followed by the transportation sector. That is our automobiles, right? So these are the major contributors. Apart from this, we have the heavy industries also, right? So the power plant, transportation sector, and heavy industries, they emit lot of CO2. So this CO2 is going to enter into the atmosphere, right? So when it comes to the atmosphere, the CO2 is going to be absorbed by the trees, CO2 is going to be absorbed by the sea, and CO2 is going to remain in the air, atmospheric air, right? So maximum amount of CO2 is absorbed by the ocean, right? Almost 30% of the CO2 that is being emitted to the atmosphere is absorbed by the ocean, followed by that part of the CO2 is going to be absorbed by the forest or by the trees, right? For during the photosynthesis process, it takes in CO2, right? The plants, agricultural plants, it takes in CO2 during the photosynthesis process. So 30 plus 25 makes 55. Okay, and among this atmosphere, in the atmosphere, almost 45% will remain in the atmosphere itself, right? So among the total amount of CO2 that is being emitted by the power plant as well as by the heavy industry and by the transportation sector, so 30% is being absorbed by the ocean, 25% is being absorbed by the woods, right, or the agricultural plants, and remaining 45% it stays in the atmosphere. So which is harmful, right? Which is not good for the environment. So because of this, what will happen, right? So this is what we call it as a carbon cycle. So from the plants or from the fossil fuels, we are going to emit CO2 after combustion. That CO2 is going to be absorbed by the ocean and forest, and by the some of them are going to remain in the atmosphere. The presence of this CO2 in the atmosphere, this is not good for us, right? So that is what we call it as harmful. So what it will lead to, so that we will discuss now. Okay, so if the CO2 levels are very high in the atmosphere, then what will happen? So normally the CO2 emitted, amount of CO2 emitted because of the transportation sector, heavy industries, and by the power plants, 25% is going to be taken away by the plants and 30% by the ocean, and the remaining stays in the atmosphere. So because of this presence of the increase in level of CO2 in the atmosphere, it affects the life in land as well as the life in marine. The marine life also going to be affected. So the excess carbon in the atmosphere, what this will do? This will warm the planet, right? The earth is going to get warmed. That we call it as the global warming, right? So because of the increase in the CO2 in the atmosphere, what will happen is that normally the temperature is going to increase. If the temperature is going to increase, then we say that it is good for the plants, right? And the presence of CO2 is also good for the plants, agricultural plants. But because of the continuous emission of the CO2 and the increase in temperature of the earth, we are going to have the duration of the summer is going to increase. If the time period of the summer is going to increase in a year, then this will create stress in the plants because water is going to be scarce. The roots will not find, the roots will find difficult to get the water during the summer period, because during summer period it is going to be dry. So the plants are going to be subjected to stress, right? So dry and water starved plants, these are more susceptible to fire. The forest fire is because of the dry plants, right? If it is going to be very dry, summer season is too long, then during the summer season we will be having the forest fire. And the plants, agricultural plants, are also going to be affected by the insects, right? Especially during the summer period. Okay, and as a result of the forest fire also, it is also going to emit lot of CO2 into the atmosphere, right? And when this CO2 is going to be emitted, the temperature of the earth is going to increase, global warming is going to occur. As a result, the glaciers are going to melt, and the mean sea water level is going to increase. thereby the amount of land area that is available is going to decrease. So these are some of the problems, right? And coming to the problems faced by the marine life because of the increase in level of CO2. So what will happen is like the 30% of the CO2 emitted by the automobile sector and the power plants and by the refineries and heavy industries. So 30% is going to be absorbed by the marine, and the CO2 present in the atmosphere, it is going to diffuse into the seawater and it will form carbonic acid, right? When the CO2 present in the atmosphere, it diffuses into the seawater, that is salt water, it forms carbonic acid, right? This carbonic acid affects the marine life, right? So normally the marine life, if you see, they used to have shell, right? These shells are made up of calcium carbonate, right? This shell, if it is an oyster, this is an oyster, right? This is a conch shell, right? Coral, this is coral reef, this is conch shell, right? These are mussels. So all these are having the calcium carbonate, right? To protect the organism. This living organism are protected by this shell. Okay, this is made up of calcium carbonate. When the carbon dioxide diffuses into the seawater, then it forms carbonate ions, right? This carbonate ions, what it will do? So this carbonate ion, it will react with the calcium carbonate, right? So this carbonic acid, because of the CO2 diffusing into the salt water, it forms the carbonic acid. It reacts with the carbonate ions, and it forms bicarbonate, right? So if this reaction is going to happen, then the amount of carbonate ion that is available for these organisms to make the shell is going to be less. So the amount of carbonate ions available in the sea is going to come down, right? So the making of the shell by these living organisms, so it is going to have only thin shell, right? And the shell is going to be more fragile, right? And the second reason is that when the CO2 diffuses into the salt water, it forms carbonic acid and it creates an acidic environment in the sea. So because of the acidic environment, it will try to dissolve the calcium carbonate. That is, the shells of these organisms are going to get dissolved. Already the amount of the carbonate ions that is available in the seawater is less, and it is not able to form thick shells, right? This is one problem. And secondly, this carbonic acid that makes the seawater more acidic because of acidic nature of the seawater. So it is going to dissolve the calcium carbonate of the these living organisms. So thereby they are going to have weak and poor shells, right? So the life of the marine, the aquatic life is going to affect it. Okay, so these are the problems because of the increase in level of the CO2 into the atmosphere. Okay, and the other problems are like global warming. So coming to global warming, let us say this is a glass, right? So glass is transparent to visible light. So if you flash a torch, then the light can pass through the glass, right? So glass is transparent for the visible light, whereas it is opaque for the infrared light. The solar radiation contains visible spectrum, 50% visible spectrum, 32% infrared, 18% UV, right? The solar radiation contains three types of radiation. One is visible light, other one is infrared, and the third one is UV. So 50% of the solar radiation is visible spectrum, under visible spectrum, and 32% is infrared, and 18% is UV. Okay. So now this glass, what it will do, it will allow only the light to pass through, not the infrared. Okay. So this is this concept we in the especially in the European countries where the temperature is less. Let us say if they want to grow a plant from the tropical country, let us say from India. In India, we are going to have higher temperature compared to the European nations. So now let us say I want to plant a agricultural plant in European country, which is from India. That plant is from India. So it requires higher temperature. So what they used to do for the plants which requires higher temperature, there in European nations, you are going to have less surrounding temperature. They used to have a glass house, right? Similar to this, they will have a glass house. Inside that, they will be placing the plants. The plants which requires higher temperature, that will be placed inside the glass house. Other plants will be placed outside, right? So now what will happen when the sunlight falls on this glass? Glass is transparent to visible light, right? So the light will enter and it is going to reach the bottom of the glass house. Once it strikes the bottom of the glass house, this visible light will become infrared, right? The visible light that is entering into the glass, once it reaches the bottom of the glass house or the greenhouse, this is also called as greenhouse. Once it reaches the bottom, then it becomes infrared. Light will become infrared. For infrared, glass is opaque. It will not allow the infrared rays to come out. So what will happen? Whatever radiation that is entering, solar radiation that is falling, that is going to get trapped inside this glass house or greenhouse. So if the energy that is entering, solar radiation that is entering, it is going to get trapped, because once it reaches the bottom, once it strikes the bottom, it is going to become infrared. For infrared, the glass is opaque. So it is not going to allow the infrared radiation to leave. So the temperature is going to increase inside. So compared to the outside temperature, temperature inside the glass house is higher. And these plants require higher temperature to grow, right? So to grow, it requires higher temperature. So it is advantage for the plants. So this is what we call it as greenhouse, right? Or greenhouse effect. The similar phenomenon, it occurs in the earth. Okay, because of the CO2 that is being emitted, right, or the emissions from the engine exhaust, right? The emissions contains CO2 predominantly, and this CO2, what it will do, it will cover the Earth's atmosphere, right? This is the Earth, and the Earth's atmosphere is going to be covered by CO2 or the greenhouse gases, right? So these greenhouse gases, what it will do, they have the property similar to glass, right? The CO2 and other greenhouse gases, once that is emitted to the surrounding and it reaches the atmosphere, and when the sunlight and when the solar radiation or the sun shines, the solar radiation can pass through this atmosphere where we have more amount of CO2. So CO2 behaves like the glass. It will allow the visible light to enter. Once the visible light strikes the Earth's surface, it becomes infrared. Once it becomes infrared, what will happen? This CO2 is behaving like glass. It is not going to allow the infrared to leave, right? So whatever radiation that is falling, it is going to get trapped. Okay. So that is going to present inside the Earth's atmosphere. Thereby the Earth's temperature is going to increase, right? Only a very little amount of radiation is going to leave the atmosphere, and the maximum amount of radiation is going to be reflected back, and it is going to get trapped within the Earth's atmosphere. So because of this, we are going to have the problem of global warming, right? So this effect, we call it as greenhouse effect. Because of the greenhouse effect, the temperature of the Earth is going to increase. Okay. So the main contributor is the emission of greenhouse gases, right? That is from your that is from the power plants as well as from the transportation sector. Okay, that is from the automobiles. So the primary greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere are, see, even though we say that global warming has to be avoided, but the greenhouse effect is necessary to a certain extent, right? Only if the greenhouse effect becomes uncontrolled, then we say that it is harmful. Because what will happen, already in the Earth's atmosphere, we have water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, then nitrous oxide, ozone. These are all greenhouse gases only, right? Greenhouse gases only, okay? But if these gases are not there in the atmosphere, then what will happen? Then our Earth's temperature will be very low, right? Whatever radiation that is striking the Earth, and if it can leave the Earth's atmosphere easily, if these greenhouse gases are not present, then whatever radiation that is falling, whatever radiation that is striking the Earth, that will become infrared and it will get reflected back to the space, right? If it is going to be reflected completely back to the space and nothing is going to be retained within the Earth's atmosphere, then the temperature of the Earth will be something around minus 18 degrees C. Then the life in Earth will be in danger, right? So luckily we have some amount of greenhouse gases which will not allow the solar radiation to leave. So thereby it maintains a temperature, and the average temperature of the Earth at present is 15 degrees C. Okay, so which is suitable for the living organisms, right? For the life to sustain in Earth. But the amount of CO2 emitted, or the greenhouse gases that are being emitted into the atmosphere, that is crossing the limit. So thereby the temperature, the average temperature of the Earth is increasing, which is not good. Okay, that is what we are discussing. This is because of the emission from the automobiles as well as emission from the power plants and other heavy industries. Okay, so the presence of greenhouse gases is mandatory, but its level should not be increased if it crosses the if it crosses the unacceptable limit, then that leads to other problems. Okay, like global warming. Because of global warming, the glaciers are going to melt, then the seawater level is going to increase, mean sea level is going to increase, and the availability of the land in the earth is going to decrease. Okay, and the other environmental problem because of the emission from the engine, right? Because of the engine exhaust, this is acid rain. Okay, so this acid rain is also called as acid deposition. Basically, we have two different types of this acid deposition. It can be either in the wet form or in the dry form. The acid deposition from the atmospheric air to the land, it can occur by two means. One is by in the wet form, other one is in the dry form, right? So this also includes the smog formation, hail, and other dust that are being emitted into the atmosphere, which are acidic in nature, right? So now let us say when the sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxides that are emitted in the atmosphere, this is going to be carried away by the wind, right? And this SO2 and nitrogen oxides that will react with the water vapor present in the atmospheric air, and it forms sulfuric acid and nitric acids. Okay, so this forms sulfuric acids and nitric acids. The SO2 and the NOx that are being emitted from the engine exhaust, which is going to be carried away by the wind, and in the atmosphere it is going to react with the water vapor, and it forms sulfuric acid and nitric acid. Okay, and this sulfuric acid and nitric acid, it is going to settle in the earth, right? It can settle by two ways, either in the wet form or in the dry form. If it is going to come back to the earth in the wet form but due to precipitation or by rain, then we call it as acid rain. Okay, so the main source for the formation of the acidic environment in the atmosphere is because of the SOx and NOx, right? So this will form sulfuric acid and this will form nitric acid, right? So the power plants, automobile exhaust, and manufacturing industries are the main culprit. So the sources are only from these three. These are the main contributors for the emission of SOx and NOx, right? And when the wind blows, as the SO2 and NOx are going to be carried away, and when it reacts with the atmospheric air, and the acid rain not necessarily will occur only in the place from where the NOx and SOx are emitted. It is going to, because the wind is going to carry away this, and in other places wherever you don't have the emission of SOx and NOx, there also you might experience the acid rain, right? So if you see this diagram, so this is an automobile, right? These are automobiles which are plying on the road, and there is a power plant or a refinery. So these refineries and power plants as well as the automobile, they emit SOx and NOx. You can see here, right? So the emission of SOx and NOx, this is at stage 1. And the SOx and NOx, it enters into the cloud. Cloud has water vapor. So this SOx and NOx, it reacts with the water vapor present in the cloud. Okay, then it forms the acidic environment, right? Your sulfuric acid and nitric acid are going to be formed. And from here, it is going to be deposited into the land, right? That can be by dry form or in the wet form. If it is wet form, then we are going to have precipitation. So acidic rain or acid rain is going to happen, or in the dry form also, these acids will settle on the buildings as well as in the vegetations. Okay, and it will also enter into the water bodies. Okay, and the aquatic life is going to be affected because of the increase in acid content, right? Because of the acidic environment. Okay, so this is what is acid rain. So there are two possibilities. Either you can have wet deposition, which we call as acid rain, or it can be a dry deposition from the atmosphere to the land. Let us say if it is a very dry environment, the moisture content in the air is less, even then this deposition of the sulfuric acid and nitric acid will occur, and it will deposit on the vegetation, on the buildings, on the water bodies, right? And finally, it is going to create harmful to the human health, right? And even if it is going to settle, and later if there is going to be rain, then these acidic depositions are going to be carried away, and finally it is going to enter into the water bodies, and it creates harm to the aquatic life and wildlife, right? So to measure the acidicity or the alkalinity, we will be using a pH scale. So in the pH scale number 7 pH scale, if it is the value is 7, that it is neutral. Less than 7 we call it as acidic. More than 7 we call it as basic or alkaline, right? So when the rain, during normal rain, we have the pH value of the rainwater around 5.6. This is during normal rain, right? That means it is slightly acidic. This is because of the carbon dioxide that is getting dissolved into the water vapor, okay, and it forms a carbonic acid. So already normal rain is acidic in nature with a pH value of 5.6. If the pH value still decreases, then we call it as acid rain, right? When we say if the pH value of the rain is something around 4.2 to 4.4, then we call that rain as acid rain. And the other problem, right? Third environmental problem, right? Initially we started with CO2 into the emission of CO2 into the environment. Then we discussed about global warming. Then we discussed about acid rain. Now coming to the smog. Smog is nothing but this word is formed from combination of smoke and fog, right? So smog is a type of intense air pollution, and visibility is going to be affected, and we are going to have hazy air, right? So this we call it as smog, okay? So the air pollution here in the case of smog, this is composed of NOx and SOx and ozone, right? Apart from that, we are also going to have particulate matters, right? So particulate matter, ozone, and SOx and NOx are the main reasons for the formation of smoke. This smoke, we have two different types of smoke. One we call it as summer smoke, other one we call it as winter smoke. During summer period, what will happen is that the amount of sunshine is going to be more, and the temperature of the earth is going to be higher, right? Because of the more sunshine, the emissions from the engine like nitrogen oxide, then your NOx, SOx, ozone, particulate matter, and smoke, this will react with the sunlight, right? Which we call it as a photochemical reaction, right? Because of the photochemical reaction, smog is going to be formed, right? During the daytime only we will have this formation of smog in the summer smoke, right? During summertime also we will have the formation of the smog. That is because of the photochemical reaction taking place, right? So the sunlight, it reacts with the organic components that are being emitted from the engine exhaust, right? Thereby it forms smog. So this we call it as summer smog. During winter, the temperature is less. So the temperature is less, and also the wind speed is also less, right? The wind velocity is also going to be less. So temperature is less. So whatever the emission that are being emitted, so that will remain in that nearby area. It is not going to be carried away to the longer, it is not going to be spread throughout, right? So in the nearby area only it is going to remain, because the temperature is less and wind velocity is less during the winter period. So this cooler air, it will trap the pollutants, and it will not allow the pollutants to diffuse to the atmosphere, to the various parts, okay? So in that area, we are going to have this smoke, right? This hazy air is going to be present, okay? So because of this, it affects the transportation, right? Because the poor vision, you might have heard about that. Because of the poor visibility, flights will not land properly, and the trains also will run late, and the highways also will be having a lot of traffic jam, right? Because of the smog, okay? And coming to the effects of pollution on the agriculture, right? So the emission from the engine, how it affects the agriculture, right? So the agricultural products and crops, they are going to be affected by the emission from the engine because of the concentration of the pollutants that are present in the atmosphere, and also the time period during which it is going to be exposed to the pollutants. If it is going to be exposed to a longer time period, then it is going to affect the agricultural product, okay? So that the injuries or the harm that is created on the agricultural product, that can be visible from the, you can identify from the crop leaves, and also you can see the rate of growth of the plants that is going to be affected, and the yield from the plant is also going to be affected, right? And it may also, if the concentration is too high, then it will lead to the premature death of the agricultural plant. Okay, and if the plant is going to be affected by the emission, by consuming those agricultural product by the cattle and animals, so they are also going to get affected, right, because of the pollutants that are being emitted from the engine exhaust, right? So the emissions also affect the soil, right? So the presence of more concentration of this emission from the engine in the atmosphere, that will lead to the infertility of the soil, and that will create the acidic environment in the soil. So thereby the yield from the soil will come down. Okay. So the most common air pollutants are the sulfur dioxide, fluorides, ammonia, chlorine, and particulate matter, right? And primarily ozone is also responsible for the this is very important, like this ozone also affects the agricultural productivity, right? So normally we say like ozone protects us, right? We say that it prevents the entry of UV rays from the sun, right? Thereby it protects the life in earth, right? But when we start emitting lot of emissions from the engine, what will happen is that ozone is going to be formed at the ground level itself. It will not go to the top. So ozone is going to be formed at the ground level itself. When the ozone is going to be formed at the ground level, then it affects the vegetation, right? So what this does is that over the period of 150 years, they have observed that the concentration of ozone at the ground level has doubled, right? So this ground level ozone is formed only because of the, indirectly because of the high temperature combustion in the IC engines. At high temperature, this nitrogen and oxygen, it reacts and it forms NOx, right? Which is one of the main reason for the formation of ozone at the ground level, right? So if you see, normally what will happen in the case of plants, the plants will absorb water, CO2 from the atmosphere with the help of the sunlight. So it requires sunlight. The photosynthesis process takes place because of the presence of the chlorophyll in the plant. It takes in CO2, water, and it gives out oxygen, and it stores glucose. During the photosynthesis process, it takes in CO2, water, sunlight, and it forms glucose, and it is going to store that in the plant. Thereby, it gives a byproduct, which is oxygen, right? Which is responsible for, which is essential for the human beings and for other wild animals, right? But now, because of the ozone layer at the ground level, right? The concentration of ozone at the ground level, what it does is that, so this ozone will try to enter into the stomata. Stomata is the small pores that are present in the leaves, right? So through which only it takes in CO2 and gives out oxygen. Through the stomata, that small pores that are present in the tiny pores that are present in the leaf, it takes in CO2 from the atmosphere and gives out oxygen to the atmosphere. Now to this pores, this ozone will enter, right? And it is going to hinder the process of absorption of CO2 by the leaves and the emission of oxygen from the leaves. Okay, so that is the problem with the ozone if it is going to be at the ground level. So this ozone is going to penetrate into the pores of the leaves, and thereby it is going to hinder, or it is going to be obstruction for the absorption of CO2 and the emission of oxygen from the plants, agricultural plants. Okay. So by nature, these agricultural plants, they used to defend with the ozone, right? The entry of ozone into the pores of the leaves, that is defended by the plants. By these plants, they possess antioxidants. These antioxidants, it will neutralizes the ozone. This is during normal period. If the concentration of the ozone is going to increase, if the concentration of the ozone is going to increase, then and assume that the antioxidants present in the plant is less comparatively, then it cannot neutralize completely whatever ozone that is entering into the pores of the leaves, right? So the problem of the vegetation is going to be affected because of the ozone at the ground level. That is because of the it depends upon the concentration of the ozone, and it also depends upon the amount of antioxidants that are present in the plant, right? If it is balanced, then the plant can survive. Otherwise, the plant will fail. Agricultural plants will fail if it is not able to defend the entry of ozone into the pores of the agricultural plants. Okay. So it affects the plant cell. So thereby it damages the agricultural plants. Right. Coming to the this is about the your environmental impact because of the pollution. These are the environmental impact. Now coming to the various problems that are going to be faced by the human life, right? Because of the emission from the engine, how does it affect the human life, right? So if we are going to have ozone at the ground level, right, that also affects our respiratory tract. Right, for the human beings, if it is going to be available at the ground level, so it is going to affect the respiratory tract, and it is going to be more harmful when it is going to be combined with other pollutants such as pesticides, chlorofluorocarbons, metal aerosols. All these are also going to combine, and it is going to react with the ozone, and when it is going to be, when we are going to inhale this, so that is going to be a problem. Okay. And the emission from the engine, the particulate matter that is being emitted, right, from the engine, this also causes a respiratory problem, right? So this is going to enter into the lungs, and it will stick to the tissues of the lungs, right? So thereby the function of the lungs is going to come down, and this will lead to the problems like asthma and other respiratory illness. Okay. Especially this problem is widely found in the children. They are at the risk of the respiratory problems, right? So, and people, if they are sick, they will become more sick because of this, right? So because of the emission from the engine, so we are going to have lot of respiratory problems, right? And if the combustion inside the engine cylinder is not proper, so instead of CO2, we will be having carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is considered as a poisonous gas, right? So this carbon monoxide is given off whenever the fuel undergo incomplete combustion, right? So when we inhale this carbon monoxide, the hemoglobin that is present in the blood, which has more affinity towards the carbon monoxide, so it will the carbon monoxide will stick to the hemoglobin. Normally the hemoglobin will carry the oxygen, right? It carries the oxygen to the different parts of the body. Once this carbon monoxide is going to be with the hemoglobin, then the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood is going to come down. So thereby that will lead to the human life is going to be affected because of the carbon monoxide that is being emitted from the engine exhaust, right? And we are also face a lot of eye problems, right, because of the emission from the engine. The particulate matter especially are the soot particles that are present in the engine exhaust when it enters into the atmosphere. So our eyes are susceptible to this soot particle, right? The most common eye problems are caused due to the air pollution and due to particulate matter. So we face problems like watery eyes. So continuously some of them will be having the tears because of the eye allergy. They will be having continuous flow of tears, right? So which we call as watery eyes, and they also have the burning sensation, right, or itching sensation. And you can see because of the pollutants, it causes allergy to the eye, and we experience the redness, right, of the eyes, and there will be swelling of the eyes also. Okay, so this will lead to for some of them it will lead to like formation of dry their eyes will become very dry because of the presence of the particulate matter or the allergic pollutants that are entering into the eye, and they used to have the feeling like some foreign particle is present inside the eye, right? They used to rub their eyes continuously. Okay, so these are some of the problems because of the particulate matter that is present in the atmosphere and which is being emitted from the engine. Okay. And coming to the other problems faced by the humans is that the especially in the case of diesel engine, right? The diesel engine emissions, right? So it is considered as carcinogenic. According to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, right? This is a part of WHO. According to them, they have made a study and they say that diesel engine exhaust is carcinogenic, and they have identified the reason for this also. And the people, those who are inhaling this exhaust from the diesel engine, they are at a risk of having lung cancer. Okay. How this is being formed is that when the diesel burns inside the engine, it releases two types of cancer-causing two cancer-causing things are being emitted to the surrounding. One is the microscopic soot particle, and the second one is the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, PAH, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon. So these two are responsible for causing cancer in the lungs, right? Initially, let us say the person is going to inhale the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon. This will directly damage of the cells, and thereby it causes the lung cancer. This causes directly PAH, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, that are emitted from the diesel engine. Directly it causes cancer. Secondly, the soot particles, when it is being inhaled, it is going to be settle inside the lungs for a longer time period. That will lead to the inflammation, and it can cause the cell division at a faster rate, right? So the abnormal growth of the cell is what we call it as the cancer. Okay. So the lung cells are subjected to this random mutation, and more cell division is going to occur, and it causes cancer. So the soot particles are indirectly related, whereas the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are directly related for causing cancer in the lungs, right? And coming to the let us say in the case of automobiles, we use battery, and lead acid battery predominantly it is used, and lead is considered as a poison, right? This is a threat to the human health, and it affects the health of the human beings widely. Okay. So now let us say if you want to scrap a battery, let us say after using the battery, if you want to scrap it, then you should not throw it into the garbage or for landfilling. You should not do. Instead, it should be handed over to the retailer or wholesaler of the battery, so that what they will do is that they will recycle and they will extract using various metallurgical process the lead that is present in the battery, that can be extracted, and it can be used for the recycled and used for the subsequent batteries that are being produced. Okay. So lead poisoning is considered as one of the dangerous, one of the most harmful effect on the human body. Okay. So the exposure to the lead this can occur by the contaminated air, right? If you are going to keep stack of batteries, scrap batteries, right? The air that is present there nearby, that will be contaminated, and if it is going to scrap the battery in the water body, right, then this lead will contaminate the water. Okay. So it should be discarded properly, right? The lead acid battery has to be discarded properly. Okay. And the last part of the emission that is coming from the engine, how does it affects into the human health? And the last part is it is going to lead to the olfactory nerves dysfunction, right? So olfactory dysfunction or the olfactory nerves dysfunction is defined as the reduced or distorted ability to smell. So we will, if you are going to be exposed to the emission of the engine over a long time period, then our ability to smell is going to come down, right? And the exposure to the airborne pollutants has been implicated in the olfactory sensory decline. Okay. So the main reason for the olfactory dysfunction is the NOx, right? NOx is directly associated with the olfactory dysfunction, right? So if we are going to be exposed for a longer time period with the NOx, then the capacity to smell, to sniff is going to come down. Okay, these are some of the problems associated with